Okay, so today we're taking linear relationships to the next level. So we've already looked at graphs and we've already looked at tables. Today we're going to go into real world examples. We're going into the word problems today. So we know and have been using our equation of y equals mx plus b. Okay, so y is our dependent variable. Okay, and then x is our independent variable. All right, so one example I can use is if I'm going to the movies, my independent variable, or something that I can control, would be number of tickets. Right? So I can choose how many tickets I buy based on how many people go. The dependent variable, what depends on the number of tickets, is the total cost. All right, so these are things that we've been learning and we should be familiar with from previous years. And then we learned two new things this week. We learned about B, and that is our y-intercept. So we've already looked at it on a graph. We look at our line and we see where it intersects the y-axis, right? We use our color to emphasize the y-axis. And then we look for our y-intercept. And we know that the y-intercept is the value of y when x is 0. So it's 0 and then b. Okay? And then we've already learned this about our m. Our m is our rate of change. Okay, and how we have looked at our m on a graph is we look at either uphill or downhill, right? And that determines if it's positive or negative. On our table, we looked at the y values, and if it was increasing as you went from the top towards the bottom or the right of the graph, then it was positive. If it was decreasing, our y values were, then it was negative. All right, so that was our rate of change. So now we're going to be looking at some word problems, some word scenarios. So when we do that, you have our y-intercept, right? What operation is happening with our y-intercept? So the y-intercept, it's plus b, okay? So that means we are either adding or subtracting. So in a word problem, we are going to be looking for words that tell us that we're adding to something or subtracting from it. We're also going to be looking for, so like you guys know, adding would be like plus, I don't know, I see a lot of times plus, or they also charge this amount, or subtracting is that like she gave 5 away. That's a situation where she's subtracting, okay? But the y-intercept is often our original amount or our starting point. Darn it, sorry. Or like our initial fee. All right? So if I'm talking about my example of going to the movies, okay? So I'm going to the movies. I don't know how many tickets I'm going to buy yet. I'm not sure about that. But I know I'm going to buy popcorn and a drink, okay? So let's say, so for example, my initial cost, no matter what happens, is that I am going to buy popcorn and a drink. Okay, so no matter what, I'm buying that. So that would be my starting point. Let's see. Another example would be, let's say we're having a party and I buy a cake, okay? So I'm buying the cake no matter what, all right? And then I have to spend more for snacks and things based on how many people come. So my starting point would be the price for my cake, okay? So in a word problem, you're going to be looking for adding and subtracting, plus, minus, things like that, right? So plus, minus. And then you're also going to be looking for something that tells you that it's like the original part or the starting point or the initial fee. So maybe I'm renting jet skis and it's a $50 reservation fee, and then it's $20 per hour. My reservation fee or my initial fee is going to be my y-intercept. And then we go over here to our rate of change. So if we look at our rate of change will always be directly next to x. And that means that we are multiplying, okay? So the rate of change is going to be multiplied. So that means that I'm going to be looking for words that mean multiplication. So it may say times, per, each, okay? So again, if I go back to my situation with my popcorn and my drink, okay? If I say it's, let's see, example, $5 per ticket, right? I'm going to take and multiply $5 times the number of tickets I buy, right? So if it's just me, it's 1 times 5. If I go and there's 3 of us in all, it's 3 times 5, okay? And then no matter what, I already bought my popcorn and my drink. So that is my y-intercept. So hopefully this is a good introduction for you into the problems that we're going to be working on today. So again, in your problem, you want to be looking for the keywords that mean multiply, like times, per, and each. That's going to trigger that it is your M, or your rate of change. And then you also want to look for a starting point or an original amount, and looking for the words that mean adding and subtracting. That means that's going to be your y-intercept. So those are the keywords you want to look for today.